WhatsApp 0809440981. Do well to send a tweet at Smooth981 FM. And we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Smooth981.
On Smooth Breakfast. Good morning, gentlemen. How are
Good
you?
morning, Lagos. A cool 100 million for ransom or for party tickets.
Oh my goodness, that seems to be the new amount. Good morning, Lakame.
Hi, good morning. Good
All
morning,
right.
Divo.
Great to have everyone sitting at the table. Let's get ready to discuss and let's jump right in. We're going to be starting with this story in from this day newspaper. Methodist prelate speaks on abductions and 100 million naira ransom paid to kidnappers for his freedom. Now, this is the prelate of the Methodist Church in Nigeria, His Eminence Samuel Akano Uche, who revealed that the church actually had to pay a ransom of 100 million naira to secure him and two or three following their abduction on Sunday afternoon. Devo, I'm coming to you for this story, and I have to say, it seems to be contravening the news that the information that we were getting. We were told that it was not only divine intervention but also security operatives that had actually secured this release. But turns out that it's money, unless money has become the new god. What are your thoughts?
Wow. Sometimes when we say there should be outrage in this country, you wonder to which degree have we become so incensed that we literally take and gulp in, absorb everything security from the abductions taking place to the several murders to even the civil massacres that take place in terms of the Deborah's case over blasphemy, David Umar's case over an unpaid amount for Okada men, or the Alu 4, or the treachery that takes place within the various insurgent or non-gunmen. Now, in this case, in Abia State, the Methodist Church, that's what some people was abducted across the weekend. And remember, this news went around the country. What is that going to do? Well, around the world. Now, you see, whilst that security forces are meant to do as they can, that's the train attack in Kaduna, which still has almost up to about 100 abductees still within the terrorist
Control.
hold. Now, he was finally released, right, across the weekend. And the governor, that's Governor Ikpeazu, came out and told everyone that he was thanking the prayers of Christians, the fervent prayers of Christians, and the deft work of the security forces that sought his release. However, and surprisingly, His Eminence comes out in a press conference and speaks to Nigerians here in Lagos that it was not the security forces that came to his aid. It was actually the Methodist Church that actually put together ransom money, that's 20 million in 5 bags, amounting to 100, and paid for his release. That the federal government even, and that's at the state level, that the federal government didn't even play any role. Now, you see, the shock here is not about how he had to pay ransom, because somehow, we've always gone back and forth on whether ransom is actually paid. Police will say that, well, they can't say much, but we've always known that ransom is being paid. And now you have someone in the stature of the Archbishop speaking directly in his own case. Now, the funny thing is this a complete failure of governance? I understand government doesn't want to be seen as negotiating with criminals or abductors, but must they lie about it? Is it the governor? Because the truth is, right now, am I going to start hacking the governor? That why did you come out and mislead people? The real issue is, why is it that the security forces can't really do a job? And that this is not just in the bishop's case. Let's start counting them.
Now, Deville, what I would like you to do is now relate this to the Senate and the bill regarding
Yes, about jail terms for those who
paying
try to pay
ransom.
ransom. We said it at
Is
the
the
time
church
that they
going to
were.
jail?
No, is the bishop going to jail? Is the church going to jail? I mean, it was a bunch of is it hogwash? It was ill planned, ill a bill, an unfortunate bill that didn't have proper thinking to it, because you haven't put in the proper security, what do you call it, parameters to be able to secure your own citizens. Yet you are creating a bill that has no logic to it, that people should not be paying ransom, and yet you're doing nothing. Because the flip side of not paying ransom is that the federal government or the state government or whichever government is going to see how it can secure your release.
No.
But if we count down, let me just note this: in the Kaduna case, the few people that are released, apart from the pregnant lady who they brought in a doctor to treat, and then they later released her on compassionate reasons. The former MD of the BOA, that's the Bank of Agriculture, was released on a purported 100 million naira payments, which some said they saw the bags. The same case in the case of all the other abductees, from the Dapchi to the Chibok girls, to some of the. There's been so many. Even there was a time, remember, when kidnapping was rife in the Niger Delta, when even of blessed memory, Chief Lulu Briggs, his wife was kidnapped. Of course, ransom was paid, even for lesser crimes. People who have been traveling to the southeast have had these issues, and they've had to pay money, even in the southwest. So can we get off our high horses and completely dismiss this position that ransom is not paid in this country? Because we can see it is clearly an industry right now.
Now, Devo, one question I wanted to ask you, and one thing I want you to touch on is that the security response to this, because we heard from the Abia State Police Command, and I'm even trying to find a quote that I can take from their public relations officer, Jeffrey Bonner, who said, if there's any arrest, it's not to my knowledge. All I know is that they have regained their freedom. And
As
that's
always,
just the information that was
they
given out.
abdicate their own responsibility, as always. I'm not shocked, because there's nothing new here. We go through this daily. But my shock is that, why is it that Nigerians are not outraged about this? Why is it that at the end of the day, people have realized and confirmed that unless you take your own life into your own hands, meaning you seek for your own release or for your own safety, the state is not going to come to your aid. The state cannot secure you. And this is where we talk about the failure of governance, the failure of a country. This is where the real problem is. It is an existential problem that we cannot secure Nigerians wherever they are. This is truly unfortunate, truly, truly unfortunate.
Okay, well, Devo, there's still so much to discuss regarding this topic, but this is Freshly Pressed. We bring you a whole range of topics. So let's start off with your messages as well before we go into our next story. We have this one in. Dakwa from Marine Road says a statement by the president that he would choose his successor is very high-handed and his contempt. And that's a story that we're going to be touching on in just a bit. Dakwa also goes on to say he really should have been put in better context that he would recommend his successor. After all, Nigeria is not a family nor a friendship business.
All right. Still, the last story, you took, Shop, where the police in that state is still saying that 100 million naira was not paid. According to a statement that they put out, they're still refuting claims that a 100 million naira was paid. And also that deal with regards payment or going to jail for 15 years if you pay to secure your release is still second reading, still subject to Mr. President's assent. And I do not know if Mr. President will give assent to that bill to make it an act. But let's look at this story here in Lagos as it concerns us from the Guardian newspaper. NSCDC arrests 19 suspects, 81 vehicles at illegal oil storage site here in Lagos. Now, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Lagos Command said it arrested 19 suspects and recovered 18 vehicles at an illegal oil storage site in Ikeja. Now, the command said 4 million naira cash, 140 drums containing illegal refined AGO, that's diesel, 15 power generating sets, 12 pumping machines, 25 surface tanks, among other items, were also recovered from the site. This bothers me a lot, luckily. It happened in Ikeja, here in Lagos. What's your take on this?
I'll go back again to that
in quote, popular statement by a, a, a former labor leader in this country that if this theft of our oil is so much that it is affecting us in every way that we say it affects us, that means that it is big business. So if it is big business, it means that it is visible. Then that if it is visible, then we should know the people who are doing it. And if we know the people who are doing it, how many of them have we arrested? And if we have arrested any of them, how many of them have been prosecuted? And if we have prosecuted them, where are they serving their sentences? Okay, so having said that, now, like you said, this is right in the heart of Lagos. It's an industrial heart of Lagos. Already, everybody knows what happens in that axis. So, first thing, that premises would have an owner. It will be a business that is registered. So, we should know the owner of that premises should be able to explain how that activity started to happen on his premises. Now, the question that bothers me of all of it is this: how are these things getting into that premises? Do they use trucks to bring them there? And if they do, when and how? And who sees them, who does not see them? So, and where is these things coming from? So those are the questions that SCDC and the Controller General of Customs would need to be asking. Don't forget, Oregon is less than 5 kilometers from the Lake Zonal headquarters of the customs, which is on Mobolaji Bank Anthony on the other side of this place. So you can see the proximity. What they have done, what this tells me is that the closer to law enforcement you are in committing a crime, the higher your chances of not being detected. Because for God knows how long this has been going on in that place. And this also suggests that there are many other sites like that within Lagos. So if these kind of things happen inside town, in the metropolitan Lagos, so you want to imagine the number that is happening in places where there are no eyes or ears of government, in quotes. So you can see, so when we say that, when people suggest that we're losing 80% of our production to things like to theft, these are the kind of stories that gives credence to that. And I hope that, excuse me, I hope that we're not stopping at just arresting the workers and they are found there. They go all the way back to the top, the owner of that premises, to come and explain how they come about that business, if he rented it and who did you rent it to. Until if we don't do that, then this exercise will just be in futility.
Okay, let's just try this one in. Still from the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's crude oil production increases by 70,000 barrels per day. Um, Luckily, yes, we're trying to increase production, and we still have issues with illegal refining and stealing of our products. What's your comments on this other article as well?
Yeah, while the first story could be a bit upset um and angry as it were, this one is a bit um exciting to see. Here we were just last week, I think here we're saying that we're struggling to even make our production capacity, which is supposed to be 2.1 billion per day, and we're doing 1 point something,
Yeah, between
and
1.6,
and a lot of that 1.6 is stolen. And so here we are. Reuters is reporting that the Reuters story is reporting that for the month of May, we have increased production by 70,000 barrels per day, which means that either of two things: that the spate rate of theft for May decreased, or that we improved the efficiency of production, and we are aspiring towards going to meet our 2.1 million barrels per day. Whichever one of it is good news. And like I always say, any iota of good news we need to celebrate, because there's so much out there to deflate and depress people. So this is good news. This suggests that if we can sustain this, then that means that thing that we say that because of theft we don't have forex to do a lot of other things, there's no money to do a lot of things. In 2-3 months of the last quarter of last year, I think
the CBN governor said the NNPC didn't remit any funds to the uh,
Fuck.
is it FAC or CRF, consolidated revenue, whichever of them it is. So if this comes in now, the funds from this one, if
Mm,
we're able to end this
mm.
in full, then at least is a start that okay now, so NNPC can start
Aren't
claiming
you going to
funds.
use it to augment for subsidy? The subsidy regime that
At
the
least we'll
NNPC
use
is
it to
already
pay
getting.
for something, not that we'll draw and borrow to pay for it again. So
Me-
like I said, it's a bit of a good news that should excite us a little bit this morning.
It's all right.
All right, taking a look at the Premium Times article coming in 2023. I want to pick my successor. Support me, Buhari tells APC governors. President Buhari telling the governors of his party that he would want to pick his successor and needs their support to do so. He said this on Tuesday at a meeting with the governors elected on the APC platform at the State House in Abuja, talking about internal policies of the party and that he wants to get the support in picking his successor, who would then fly the flag of our party for the election into the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 2023. So, what are we looking at here? Dynasty politics at play within the APC and even beyond, or something else? Your thoughts, Devo?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that people must understand that in this story, the president, Major General Muhammad Buhari, is speaking as a party man. And as a party man, he is, in quotes, the head of the party or the party leader, uh, given the highest position. Now, many people confuse this because when they say Buhari wants to pick, oh, they want to impose someone on
Successor on
Nigeria.
the
No,
country,
no,
right?
no. He
No.
may be imposing on APC because APC is a party. They can do what they like. That does not mean it means same for Nigeria. So please, Nigerians, get it right. APC is entitled to do what they believe works for them. Same way the PDP picked theirs. They went through their own elections, which was fine and good. The APC has their right. Remember, they can deal either by way of indirect elections, direct elections, or consensus. And in this case, the president is indicating that he might be looking at a consensus candidate as he wants to choose. So he has, in his own fashion, said, oh, governors, please help me in this choice. Now, remember, this was the same way he threw in, let's say, the gauntlet or brought to an end the uncertainty that took place around the National Working Committee election by at the last minute saying, okay, let me just choose the chairman, who was Abdullah Adamu, and then what happened? Every other person fell in place. But the truth is, in politics, there was a deal with that consensus move. And what he simply said is, if you allow me to choose the chairman, then I will allow each and every one of you to zone the key positions. And that was what happened. That was why each governor was able to elect some certain people without contention. Now, in that meeting, there were about 22 governors, okay? APC governors with him and some other key officials. Remember, among the 23 aspirants, about 4 or 5 of them are governors, okay? Some are key public officials like the vice president and the Senate president. They're also running. And then some key ministers like Amechi and the minister of Niger Delta, Akpabio, and the minister of petroleum, who I think withdrew his this thing. And then some other key party leaders like Tinubu and and then some others. But you see, the problem here is that some would say that the rooster is about to come home. Okay, the president has gone off in Spain. He's meant to come back just at the brink of the party election. We don't know how this will go, and it's really really.
By the way, can we safely say that this is a major as a part is a reason why we saw the postponement of the party presidential primaries from the 29th, 30th of May to the 6th,
Maybe,
from
maybe
6th
not.
to
We
8th.
can't really say. We will grind INEC another day. However, the truth is, it's getting exciting. We want to know what is going to become of this, and we want to know whether, if by making a consensus vote, will his party people align with him, or will they create some factional motion?
All right, I was going to ask what then happens to the other people who bought funds for 100 million naira, but
Yes,
you've just said
yes.
that in your closing thoughts. There's someone from Lekki has a message. He says, it's a very good thing that Prelate gave his testimony. Otherwise, we'll be praising the government and their forces for jobs not done. Please, for the sake of our sanity, don't mention that name Bazu again. That man is a big disappointment, according to Samuel from Lekki.
It says DeVoe states that there should be outrage in the country, and I totally agree with that. But I also know that the media has a lot to do with raising the consciousness of the people. Look at the shooting incident in Texas where children were killed. The international media suspended every other program and focused on that 24/7. What happens when we listen and watch our own media in Nigeria? It's only mentioned on Fresh Press for a few minutes and maybe once or twice during the day, and life goes on. Trust me, it will continue this way until the media realizes they have a major role to play. Well, keep on listening. Lagos Talks is always there, and we give an hour for these sorts of topics. And during that hour, we ask for your input, we ask for your thoughts, we ask for your reactions.
Now we have this one from Vincent. Vincent says, I totally love Freshly Pressed and have for a few years now followed it. It is however strange that, okay.
Thank you so much for that, Vincent. We'll see what we can do about that.
All right. Let's look at this other. Oh my goodness, quite a number of messages. We have this one in. It says, Devo, it's pathetic where we find ourselves right now. We don't have a country but a geographical location like the words of the Bible to their tense because it's every man for himself. I wait for this country. Nigerians have been looking, it goes on and on. It's a failure of our security services. They don't have a hold of events when they apprehend someone and being told to release the person because of order from the top. It weighs you down. All right, Femi, thank you for your message there.
And Danny K says, luckily nothing is excited about that crude story. As crude oil production increases, theft increases too. That's how people.
Well, Nee comes in with this one. He says, how can kidnappers, bandits, and terrorists be predictable with their mode of operation and strategy, yet our law enforcement agencies do not know how to alienate them? If only President Buhari has handled the issues of Nigeria the way he handled APC issue, ASU will not be on strike, our refineries will be working, and insecurity will be a thing of the past. Nigeria has been subdued and intimidated into the submission of the government in power. I hope Nigerians will come out to vote come 2023.
Now, speaking about voting, we have this topic from the Vanguard newspaper. INEC to partner ICPC and EFCC to stop vote buying. The Independent National Electoral Commission chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, saying this in relation to the June 18th governorship election in Ekiti. And this was yesterday when he was in Ado Ekiti in a meeting with traditional rulers in the state ahead of the election. And he assured them that the commission would not condone vote buying in the coming elections, as it has been observed in some primaries conducted by some political parties in the country recently. Now, considering what Professor Yakubu just said, what would you say to Oba Ajibade Alabi, the Oba Ajibade Alabi of Ilawe Ekiti, saying that people don't need to be money bags before they can rule the country? We've even just even from the story that we took before, with people buying 100 million needing to be money bags just to be immersed.
Yes. I would say, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, right? In your sterling observation during the party primaries that money was being used, please, when they reach our turn for elections, continue observing, because since you didn't do anything at that time with the EFCC, then I don't know what you want to do now. I'm being sarcastic, but the truth is this: how come they did not make the same move when those parties were pushing money and pushing all manner of vehicles and different things to induce the votes during the primaries? The truth is, there's really nothing they can do about it at this time as Nigeria. In our front, you know what happens. Even if you stop it in one or two polling booths, are you going to do that for the remaining 115,000 polling booths around Nigeria? It's unfortunate, but the truth is, Nigerian politics has been monetized. It's the way we live. It's the way we are now.
What would you say about it becoming so normalized that people are now asking for refunds for the money that they spent?
Well, you can only ask for a refund at the primary stage. You're not going to ask for a refund at the election stage. How many people are you going to come back to give me my bag of rice? I didn't see my vote out there. So the truth is, where they have the capacity to, which is at the primary levels, they should do that. Let them leave the electorate alone.
You withdraw the transformer you bought for a community.
Oh.
Okay, let's take a look at this message. Joseph from Silver State saying, It's obvious that lawmakers are not really in tune with what or how the country is working. A law was made without any adequate background security networks to curb or arrest any such crime. He's obviously talking about the prelates story. And Femi says has sent in quite a number of messages saying it's a failure of our security services. They don't have a hold of events when they apprehend someone and being told to someone to release. Well, looks like we took that one. So from all the
That's the
messages.
last one he sent in.
Okay, yeah, he says, Allah, they will prevent vote buying. Did they prevent delegate vote buying with hard foreign currency?
There you go. Let's look at this one quickly from these days. Federal government partners WHO and CDC to access monkeypox vaccination, as to halt the spread of the disease. Bakunle, your thoughts on this?
Okay, so the latest viral disease that's ravaging the world is the monkeypox disease. To date, there have been tens of thousands of reports of infection in Europe and North America. Nigeria has at end of the week last week had I think 6 or 12 between I don't no more than a dozen reported cases, and it's somehow pleasing
21.
as
Didn't
at
we-
end of the weekend.
Oh, last week. Okay.
Yep, I think
Apologies.
6 or 12. Yeah, so it may have increased. Yes, thank you. So I think it's pleasing to see that the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and all the other agencies that are involved are up and doing about what needs to be done about this. Just yesterday, I was listening to the news that so there is no exact vaccine for the monkeypox, but that they're administering the smallpox vaccine in anticipation that it will just do enough to stop the spread of the monkeypox. So it's pleasing that this is happening, and that what then we need to do is to go out there and let people be aware of this disease in every way possible so that people can take the necessary care. It's a virus as well. It could be as deadly as any other viral disease out there. We don't know yet, but it's very important that people take note and not be susceptible to contracting the disease. I think that the primary healthcare agency have done so well in this, and it's a good one from them.
All right, going over to your messages up on YouTube where we are Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Lady Akin says the problem with Nigeria is that everyone has a cost to a blind eye. Us Educated Neke says INEC is partnering with ICPC and ECPC to fight against vote buying. Is it okay to leave the police out of this partnership? And yeah, that's what we've got for YouTube, and that's what we've got for the show. So I would like to say a big thank you to our analysts for coming in and sharing some of your time and your mental energy with us, and emotional energy as well. You can find them up on social media. You can find Lakunle actually up on Twitter. He is at Lakunle70, and DeVille remains the mystery man. Go search for him. You'll probably only find him in real life. That is that. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Coming up 8:15, we will be talking sports inside the locker room. Don't miss out on any of it.
Gang. You first.
Thank you so much for joining us up on YouTube, and thank you for your feedback. Looks like we solved some of it. We have people watching.
Okay, that was a sprint.
It's depressing.